Hello, we are Antonio Martinez and Marcia Burnett, the voice, and we belong to the Commune Research Group of the Department of Applied Linguistics at the Universidad Politécnica de Valencia. Today we are going to learn how to write a review. A review is a text written to summarize and evaluate, for example, a book, a movie, a TV show, a singer's or group's new album, and some other things. Let's focus on the parts we are going to include in a review. A review should include an introduction. You should write a few opening sentences to announce the title, the author, and some other important details. You should explain very briefly the topic of the movie, of the book, etc. You can summarize the main findings or key ideas, and you can conclude it with a brief statement of your evaluation, both positive and negative aspects, or a combination of both, as it is usually the case. A review should also include a summary. That's why you can present the most important points you have detected, and you have to be very brief in this summary. You can also briefly explain the author's purpose or intentions throughout the movie, book, etc. Bear in mind that a review is not only a description. It must, of course, be a critique, and that's why it should be a balanced discussion and evaluation of the strengths, weaknesses, and notable features of what you are evaluating. Your discussion should be based on a specific criteria. Many authors consider that good reviews normally include other sources to support evaluation. And every time you do that, you have to include the references, so remember that. You can choose how to sequence your critique. For example, you can go from the most important ideas to the least important ones. If your critique is going to include both positive and negative aspects, you can start by the negative ones and finish by mentioning the positive ones. We have mainly two types of review. The first one is a long review. In this case, you can address each criterion you choose in a different paragraph, including in that paragraph both negative and positive points. If your review is short, your comments will be briefer, of course, and you can include for example, a paragraph devoted to positive aspects and another one devoted to negative aspects. You can also include recommendations for how the movie can be improved in terms of ideas, research approach, theories or frameworks used can also be included in the critique section. A very important part in the review is the conclusion. This is usually very short, and through it you can restate your overall opinion of the movie, of the book, etc. You have to briefly present your recommendations, and if it is necessary, you can add further qualification or explanations of your judgments. This can help your critique sound fair and reasonable. Let's read now several adjectives, as when writing a review they will be very, very useful.
Funny, disappointing, fantastic, entertaining, complicated, shallow, useful, confusing.
Okay, and you can also try to use adverbs, as they are going to provide that component which is so important when writing a review.
Amazingly, excruciatingly, highly, hugely, profoundly, utterly.
Let's see all these tips and recommendations, all this structure in a real example. In this case, we have a very short review adapted from theguardian.co.uk, and Marcia is going to read it. I'm going to highlight the most important ideas and parts you have to pay attention to.
From the first sentence, the first word, the first breath, this compulsively watchable picture announces itself as the unmistakable work of Aaron Sorkin. He's found an almost perfect subject, the creation of the networking website Facebook, and the various nerds, geeks, brainiacs and maniacs about who gets the credit and the cash.
Good. As you can see, we have in the beginning we have a very catchy way to start, repeating several words, also using a lot of adverbs, a lot of adjectives, expressions that can help our critique be more subjective.
Part drama, part conspiracy thriller, the story is adapted from Ben Mesrick's non-fiction, The Accidental Billionaires. The film version perfectly displays Sorkin's gift for creating instantly believable, sympathetic and irritating characters, and the chief of these is Facebook's driving force, Mark Zuckerberg, played with exemplary intuition by Jesse Eisenberg. He is a sociopath, never smiling, never raising his voice, never conceding an argument, driven to create his masterpiece through the unforgettable pain of being dumped in the movie's opening scene.
In this case, we have information about the genre. We have also information about the way the main character is main character's role is played, and several information concerning this the personal features of this character. Now we are going to read a bit more about some features related to the director of the film.
David Fincher's direction creates just the right intensity and claustrophobia for a story that takes place in a male environment at Harvard University in 2003. When the computer science student, Zuckerberg's girlfriend Erica, Rooney Mara, breaks up with him, the director shows how the emotionally wounded Zuckerberg embarks on a campaign. He blogs vengefully about Erica and creates Face Mash, a site that invites the guys to rate campus girls against each other.
Excellent. As we can see, we have information concerning the direction of the film, and also information related to the context of the film, and a bit some details related to the plot, some ideas connected with the plot of the film. And now this is the final part, this is the conclusion, and we will see some important features.
The success of the social network lies in capturing the fever of Facebook's startup, while subversively implying that it created money and ephemeral buzz, but not a whole lot else. This is a hyperactive and hyperventilating portrait of an age with Web 2, when Web 2 became sexier and more important than politics, art books, everything. Sorkin and Fincher combine the excitement with a dark and insistent kind of pessimism. Smart work.
Okay, as you can see, we have several expressions we can always use when writing a review. The success, in this case, is positive. The success of this film lies in, and we can see how the author has used a contrast idea. We can also use but. We can use the word portrait when we want to make reference to something general. And this is a way to finish our review. This is a very short and very convincing way to finish it. Let's pay attention now to a summary of the main components that a review should comprise. Talk about the background which is present in the film, for example, society, historical time, the kind of people, the place or places where everything happens. Don't forget about the genre, whether it is a comedy, a horror film, a drama, a thriller, a musical, etc. Include features related to the characters, for example, appearance and psychology, music, the budget spent, and quality, some other features that you consider are relevant. Try to indicate the structure of the review from the very beginning, in the first paragraph. Try to attract your audience attention. The summary, as I said before, must be very brief. Don't forget to mention where and when the action takes place. Use comparative structures, a specific vocabulary, specific details. Try not to describe, but also to add your critique. And try not to give details about the end of the film. This is a list of some useful websites that we have used, but you can check many more. Thank you very much for your attention.